Today I'm going to give you some common mistakes that you can avoid when buying your first gun. Now, I've bought a lot of guns, obviously. I've been doing this channel since 2014, so now it's just the process that I go through, right? The exciting part is actually getting the gun home and then taking it to the range and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily the buying experience, right? It's just kind of something that I do now, but I can understand and I can remember when I bought my first gun, what that experience was like. I've also heard conversations in gun shops where people were buying their first gun, and I'm going to maybe give some of those examples as well because it can get pretty entertaining and interesting. Now, if you like this type of content, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit your notifications so you never miss a video from me. I don't just do topic videos, man. I do gun reviews, comparisons, I do revolvers. By the way, you should check out our latest revolver video because you could actually win that gun, just saying. Also, I do rifles. I do, World War II guns occasionally as well. So make sure you subscribe if you like guns and you want to join the community right here. First suggestion I will give you is don't get your advice about guns from the media or from rap music or from Hollywood. Do your own research or seek out people that actually know about guns. It is very clear when you walk into a gun shop, most people are going to be able to gauge your level of experience on how you say certain things. And so, it's not like people are going to, ready to pounce on you if you say clip instead of magazine. Well, maybe in the comments they will, but regardless, most people in real life, they might let that slide. Personally, I'll call out my friends and stuff. But if I hear somebody new say that, I'm not going to pounce on them, initially. But if they continue to use that, then I'll say, hey, man, it's actually a magazine. Or I'll be more joking than that, obviously, But regardless, knowing what you're getting into, knowing some of the names of guns and magazines and all of this kind of stuff really is going to help you, man. If you walk in, it's like walking into a car dealership not knowing a damn thing about the car you want to buy or not even knowing what you want to buy. Sometimes sure, that's fine, but you should educate yourself, man. Look these things up. We all have the power of the internet right here in our pockets, dude, and just getting some basic knowledge will help you out in the long run. If you go in and you ask for a Glock 40 and they hand you a 10mm long slide Glock and you're like, hey man, I wanted the 40. Well, yeah, that is a Glock 40. That's exactly what you got. That's exactly what you asked for. So educate yourself on some of these things, man. By the way, I know there's going to be a bunch of funny comments about things that you've heard in a gun shop or conversations you've overheard about guns. Leave those things down below, man, because a lot of times I'll take those little things and I'll use them in videos just like this. Next thing we're going to talk about, man, is it's kind of a two-part. It's like, be very specific on the local gun shop that you choose because this alone can make your buying experience really good. Or it can really suck. The gun shop that I go into, a lot of these guys, man, they know a ton of stuff, right? And so you can learn a lot from them if you want. But just having knowledgeable people to help you along your way is going to be so crucial. Now, on the other side of this, you need to gain some knowledge yourself, but also pick a gun shop with people that are knowledgeable. I've been in some bad gun shops, dude, and when I reflect on some of those conversations that I had early on into this, late 2013, early 2014, I think about some of those conversations then when I didn't know anything, and I was like, man, these guys know a lot. Now I think about it and I'm like, yeah, these guys were pretty much full of shit. So picking a gun shop with people that are knowledgeable will then help you in your journey, right? And don't be afraid to ask questions, dude. If you pick a good shop, there should be no problem with you asking questions. Now, again, I say that assuming that you've done some of the basic research, you know what I mean? And maybe you don't know anything, and that's fine. Maybe you want to learn from somebody else. Maybe it's hard for you to learn just looking up. So I have no idea. All I'm saying is pick a good gun shop with people that are knowledgeable, gain some knowledge yourself, and that those two things combined, one and number two here, are going to make this process, man, 95% easier for you. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is, don't think because you shot guns when you were 8 or 10 years old with your grandfather and y'all went squirrel hunting that you know everything there is about guns, specifically pistols, handgun shooting. This is a skill that you have to learn. And I've talked about this in previous videos, so I won't talk about it too much here, but don't assume that you have all the knowledge that you need, man. And don't be afraid to try to get some knowledge again from people that you know. All right, I kind of thought I knew, about guns because I grew up shooting squirrels and, going deer hunting and shooting shotguns and, 22 rifles and stuff. And to be honest with you, that knowledge did not necessarily carry over when it came to self-defense, pistol shooting, and all of that kind of stuff. So again, those things are going to come with time. You're going to want to take time and practice and make sure that you are effective with that handgun, because again, handgun, rifle shooting, they both are, super dynamic and they both involve a lot, but don't correlate one with the other, right? We started doing rifle reviews, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago now. And man, there's so many things, it's okay if you're inside of 100 yards, but once you get out past that, 400, 500, 600 yards, man, there's a lot of factors and there's a lot of stuff to learn. So just because you may be a good rifle shooter doesn't translate to pistols and vice versa. Next thing we'll talk about is neglecting the time it takes to be a good marksman. Right now, this is specifically talking about somebody that's buying their first gun and they want to carry that gun. You are now in a whole different realm when you start carrying a firearm. And so neglecting the time, money, and energy it takes to become a good marksman could potentially be detrimental to you. Right? The whole point is you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your family, and maybe even people around you that you don't even know. But in order to do that, you need to know your gun. You need to spend time with that gun, and whatever that carry gun may be, you need to be your best with that specific gun. The next thing we're going to talk about specifically is don't neglect cleaning your carry gun. Don't just, walk out of the store and say, "Oh man, I got a gun now, I'm good." There's ammo that's involved. If you're going to carry it, there's holsters that are involved. There's belts that are involved. There may be accessories that you want to put on there, but don't skip the cleaning aisle, man. I have notoriously been bad with this because I'm so used to taking a gun straight from the box, shooting it, getting it up to 1,000 rounds, doing an initial review, and now we've started 1,000 round reviews, but typically I'll revisit that gun after 1,000 rounds anyways and tell y'all, hey, what I think about it. And so I'll get into this trap of not cleaning my guns. So yes, guilty as charged, but man, you got to clean your guns, dude. You got to maintain them. Some guns you can go a couple of range trips, right? But depending on what it is, dude, you want to just keep that gun maintained. It really doesn't take that long, man. Typically, I'll try to knock out, 5 to 10 at a time because, when I go out, we'll take out a bunch of guns and I'll use them, here and there for videos. So the biggest thing, man, just don't neglect it. That's a tool that could potentially save your life, so you want to do that. The only guns that I really am super particular on and I will clean instantly whenever I get back from the range is my World War II guns, because I don't want them rusting away. They're a part of history and I love them, right? So regardless, man, your carry gun, not only should you be your best with it at the range, but that should be the cleanest one in your safe, truth being told. Last thing we'll talk about is the risks that you will take being a gun owner, and also knowing the laws in your state or places you frequent. So the risks involved of being a gun owner obviously are safety, right? Gun safety is paramount. It's something we all have to do, right? And so when you introduce things like kids or pets or anything like that into it, that adds another layer and why you should be as safe as you possibly can. Now think about it like this. If you're in a self-defense situation well, I can't say most of the time, but there will be examples of self-defense situations happening with other people around, okay? And so sometimes you have to account for that, right? Not everything is going to be perfect like it is at the range. You know, at a range, you have a firing line, nobody stand beyond that line and keep your, guns pointed down range. Those things instill safety into you. But remember that if you're in a self-defense situation and it's at freaking the grocery store or wherever you frequent, there's going to be innocent people around. And so there's a risk when it comes to that of having a gun on you. If you are the one that is in that spot and you have a chance to defend yourself, your family, and others around you, that's a part of it. And that's why I talk about, being very effective with your gun. Shot placement, knowing your target, what's beyond that target, all of that kind of stuff. So it's very important, man. There is a certain level of risk whenever you have a firearm. Also knowing the laws, man. When you buy the gun, that's kind of the easy part. Now you have to know, hey man, maybe I don't have a concealed weapons permit, like, South Carolina. Can I still carry that in my console? Can I carry it in my glove box? Can I actually have it in my vehicle? Can I not? Can it be loaded? Maybe unloaded? Okay, now we're traveling across 4 states. What are going to be the laws in those states? All of those things play a part into this. So you really want to know those laws, man. I'm not telling you that you got to take the bar to understand these things, but what I am saying is that it would be a really, really good idea for you to know the laws, not only in your state, but places that you frequent as well. Because even though this is America, dude, you could be in one state, totally legit, everything's good. You go to the next state and your ass is getting arrested for doing the same thing you just did in your home state or the state you were previously in. It can be a mess, and I understand that. So that's why you want to know not only where you live, but the places you go, what are the laws involving guns. So that's it, man. These are some of the mistakes that you want to avoid when buying your first gun. Again, I'd love to hear from y'all. I know y'all are going to leave some awesome comments down below. And again, I might take those things and make another video just like this, or a part 2 or whatever. So make sure that you subscribe and hit your notifications so you never miss one of these videos from me. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.